Good morning, everybody. It is Monday, June 12th, 9 a.m. Eastern, and there's lots and lots of action in the market right now. The stock market, cryptocurrencies, Canadian MJ, pretty much there is opportunity all over the place, and it's a wonderful time to be alive. So, SPY, we had the big pullback on Friday, more so in the tech sector and those big high beta names than in the market overall, which lets us know that we're seeing sector rotation. The financial sector seeing a lot of strength, the tech sector seeing a lot of weakness. So the question now to be interpreting whether or not we're going to see further downside is the main things that we're watching today are the low of Friday and the hourly chart. And the hourly chart and its exponential resistances and its 20-period resistances are going to let us know if there is any strength on this bounce. I do anticipate lower highs to be set on any bounce on the daily time frame for these tech names. So Amazon, Google, Facebook, all of these names, if we see the bulls show up today, I will be scouting for a lower high to be set either tomorrow or Wednesday and another bearish entry opportunity because the bulls have really, the bears have proven themselves in the short term, and I think it's woken up a lot of these bears, which obviously have been nowhere to be found over the past couple of months. So here on SPY, we do see the bulls attempting to buy the dip here. We're going to be watching the hourly time frame. So the main things to be watching are the low of Friday, 241.95. The bulls want to hold that level. And we have a nice channel here. We bounced off the 200-period hourly on Friday. We're watching that support at 242.60. And here's our 20-period and 100-period resistances to be watching. Those are at 243.68. So those are the main levels that I'm going to be watching on every individual name. And we're going to be watching, obviously, the hourly RSI in terms of oversold levels of individual names and these same moving average resistance levels. Those are our gauges of strength in terms of whether or not the bulls are seeing some recovery. And again, even if we do see a recovery here on the hourly time frame, I am anticipating lower highs on the daily time frame, and we will be scouting bearish entries midweek if we do get this bounce today. So looking at the daily time frame for SPY, then we'll go into commodities and some cryptos. On SPY, we've got the big lower wick with bulls buying the dip. So a lot of volatility coming off the all-time high Friday, significant pullback, lots of money moving around. And again, the fact that we held the exponential supports tells me that it is a sector rotation and not a dump. The last time we've had dumps back in March, and again, that Trump dump back in May, we saw all bearish action and closes at the lows, and that was not the case here. You look at the weekly time frame for SPY, and you wouldn't even know anything happened. That's just a normal consolidation candlestick with the bulls still in absolute full control of the long-term uptrend. So the market is just fine right now. It's just the tech sector that we're looking at and all those high beta names, and they've been running since the election in so much strength that I've never seen it before in terms of a sector seeing that much strength in such a short amount of time. So seeing a significant pullback is no surprise in my opinion, and we will be looking for that to continue a bit, as I do believe that we are seeing the first shifts. And we're going to be saying a lot, in my opinion, this week where we see the first time in 2017. You're going to hear me say that a lot, I think, and that's because of the strength that we've seen since the election. So here's PCLN, and the weekly time frame has been bouncing off the 8-period exponential support every single time, and here we are at it again. So if we have a red week this week, we are going to lose this level, and it will be the first time in 2017 that happens. So that will be a notable little shift that has us be looking for a bit more prolonged consolidation if we start to see these support levels that have held the entire year start to be lost. So our focus today is going to be on watching sector rotation. We're watching the tech sector, the financial sector, the energy sector, and watching to see where money is flowing, and obviously keeping an eye on the market overall. So looking in at the dollar is still forming lower highs on the daily time frame, but I do believe we're about to see a higher low and then a higher high with a shift in momentum favoring the bulls in the short term. They've been in a very clear downtrend on the daily time frame. I do believe that is about to shift in the short term. It has not happened yet. I'm looking down at support of 96.52 and resistance is 97.50 and 97.78, but I am looking for that higher low early this week, and then we'll see if we get that bullish continuation to the upside. And if we do see that, then the commodities might see a little bit of bearish action. We can see the dollar just broke down. Gold just broke down. I do not like gold nor the miners bullish unless we break this resistance level of 1270.84. It's a very clear horizontal baseline where we just formed a rejection from that level. Lower high. We traded straight across. We were close to turning things around, but this leg to the downside here with gold following silver a little bit of a laggard play right now, but just hitting a new low on this pullback. And we're looking at the daily time frame here, and we see a significant pullback on the past 4 days, giving back a lot of the bullish move to the upside. So key support is 1258.85. And that's the low of the last consolidation that we saw. And if we break that level, we lose the higher low pattern. So the bears are absolutely in control of gold right now. And the bulls had one nice day for these miners last week. Other than that, we know the bears have been strong overall, and it looks like that is keeping up for now. Silver, there's that bearish action. We didn't even see anywhere near the close attempt to turn things around on the hourly time frame like we just saw on gold. But someone just mentioned in the commodities channel where it was the bearish break on silver likely was going to lead to a bearish break on gold, which it did. So nice little laggard action there, being able to utilize both precious metals to get a little bit of heads up. So right now, very clear lower highs and lower lows on the hourly with the bears in full control. Oil is trying to see its oversold bounce play out. Nice start to the morning. And again, we're working on an area with a lack of resistance because we dumped last week from this zone. So I'm going to be looking at resistance of 46.66 and then 47 psychological. Nice little higher low pattern is underway. And on the daily time frame for oil, we have to be cautious of a bear flag. But as of right now, bulls seeing some nice follow through with a bullish reversal candlestick on Thursday, inside bar on Friday, and a bull break of that inside bar to start off today. Natural gas is trying to see things turn around as well. So keep an eye on these energy sector names here as we are looking for sector rotation in the market. And we might be watching oil and natural gas bounce, giving those individual names some upside. Very key resistance on natural gas is 3095 for the bulls to try and continue this move to the upside. That was the high of the bounce originally last week, formed higher lows, and now the bulls are making another attempt there. But we are pretty overbought on the hourly time frame. RSI is in the low 70s, and we have seen the lower highs, or I should say the RSI rejecting from 70 here. And now let's get into cryptocurrencies. So the cryptocurrencies are on absolute fire. Since we started covering Ethereum, it is up over 500% in 6 weeks. It continues to hit all-time highs. There's huge amounts of money pouring into this space, and I do believe that there are going to be significant impacts on our future over the next few years in this space. And that's what we've been saying for the past 6 weeks. That's the video that I made of introduction to cryptos. And it's really just the money pouring in is only adding to confidence that that is what we are seeing. So we are extremely overbought in the short term. There's no doubt about it. The bulls are still holding on. Here we are above $400. We started covering it down in the $75 range. And one thing I want to point out is this weekly chart is absolutely unsustainable. So we are at an RSI right now on the weekly time frame of 98 or 99. And look at this chart. It's hard to find anything like this. So obviously it's something unlike we've ever seen before. And there is a possibility that it does just ignore overbought conditions and keeps running. But because humans are trading it and because there's emotion and psychology involved, I do believe that we are going to see a pullback on the weekly time frame, and at the bare minimum, one red week. We haven't seen a red week in over a month. So I am still cautious. Absolutely, bulls have plenty of gains to the upside still, and we have enough momentum that there is trading opportunity here. But in terms of initiating long positions up in the upper 300s and low 400s, that just does not sit right with me in terms of a longer term strategy. But in terms of shorter term trading, absolutely the opportunity is still there. So we're watching for Ethereum market cap to overtake Bitcoin and take the lead in the cryptocurrency space. And we have multiple inside bars currently forming on the hourly time frame for Ethereum, and that's what we can be watching here. The bulls are looking for a break of 406 currently, but keep an eye on these hourly inside bars, multiple inside bars in a row, and we are going to see a break sometime in the next couple of hours. Checking in on Bitcoin, a big pullback, and this chart was from Moondog in the chat room. Props to him because this is the 2-hour time frame and a really nice rising wedge pattern. So here we have a lower high pattern, or I should say a higher high pattern, but we broke the higher lows and a bearish dump on high volume and a big time setback. So this does shift the momentum in the short term. Bitcoin hit an all-time high over the weekend as well, up at 3,000. But on the daily time frame, because of that dump, we gave back significant amounts of upside. We pulled back and gave back 3 days of green with that 1-2-hour drop. So keep an eye on that pattern there, a very clear break, and I do believe we might start seeing lower highs and lower lows and some consolidation now on the daily time frame. And we've seen consolidation in the past on this move to the upside, and certainly no surprise to see that after such significant moves to the upside. But we're watching to see what kind of trend change is going on because that is a notable bear break. There is notable bear volume behind it, and we're going to be watching to see if this pullback in Bitcoin, obviously, in my opinion, the pullback is related to Ethereum's strength. I do believe money is shifting around, and obviously lots of money coming into Ethereum, and some money is leaving Bitcoin. So I'll do a cryptocurrency video midday today to update the other individual names, but there is so much opportunity in this space, and I do believe that we are going to be hearing so much about this in the next 5 years, and I do believe that it is going to change the way the world works, really, but we'll have to see how that plays out. So let's get into some individual names here, and lots of volatility anticipated in the market first thing this morning, and again, all about the lows of Friday and all about hourly resistance levels in terms of gauging how strong this bounce is and whether or not the bulls have some upside today. And again, pretty much every scenario I am looking for bearish entries. It's just whether we're looking for bearish entries today or looking for bearish entries midweek after a lower high is set on the daily time frame. And again, we have to distinguish between sectors now. We're not just able to say, everything's bearish, because obviously the financial sector is doing just fine. So checking in to start it off, we've got ADBE on the 5-minute time frame. And very weak. All 5-minute moving averages are resistance. Trying to pull up the daily chart real quick. Just exited out my chart by accident. Bear with me for a moment. So the 20-period 5-minute moving average resistance is 136.14. And we have to see that level break in order for the bulls to have any kind of upside. And again, that's so many things are going to apply to so many individual names this morning. But if we can't get over the 20-period 5-minute moving average resistance, we know the bears have tons of strength and still remain in control. ADBE, the low of Friday, was 135.76, and we're seeing a gap down open. So that's very significant. Not a lot of individual names are seeing a gap down open, but that obviously shows further follow through for those bears. So if we can't get over this 20-period 5-minute moving average resistance, we're going to continue seeing lower lows. And the next support we're looking at on the daily is 130.82. That's a very key support level. If that were to break, we absolutely have a trend change on our hands. But as of right now, we are still well above that level. So the weekly time frame pulling back, we have not lost the 8-period exponential moving average support on the weekly in 2017, and we're going to be testing that level this week. It's the exact same thing I just pointed out on PCLN, and we're going to be seeing this in a lot of individual names. So that is a key gauge on the weekly time frame. And again, anything that we say, this has not happened in 2017 yet, and if it were to happen this week to favor those bears, we know that that's going to be a slight shift in momentum. So already breaking the low of yesterday definitely puts the bears in control of ADB first thing this morning. CHK, let's see if we can get some sector rotation into energy to help CHK out, which is affected by natural gas and oil. So we have a strong start here because we have natural gas and oil bouncing. Bullish reversal candlestick on Friday. 505 was resistance. A small gap up is coming here today. I'm looking at the next level of 522, and the 20-period 5-minute moving average is 507. If we lose that level, the gap will fill at 505, but seeing some strength here. Need a nice solid green day to confirm the bullish reversal candlestick from Friday and try and see things turn around. The weekly chart is not going to change this trend on CHK anytime soon. We have to get over the 100-week moving average resistance to do that, and at this point, it is going to drop down and be at about 570 or so to start this week. So tons of we need a 14% move to even touch that resistance. So it was a bullish reversal candlestick on the weekly last week. The bulls will be looking for another green week to confirm that. And let's see how much money comes into this energy sector. Let's see how these individual commodities do. And let's see if the tech money flows into financials and energy like it does appear that it is going to be doing. Obviously, we only have 1 day of information to be going off of, which is why today and tomorrow are so important. So Baidu, same thing, all 5-minute moving averages resistance, 180.20 is resistance, and we're looking down at the low of Friday of 178.21. If we break 178.21, we know the bears have momentum, and on Friday we did break the higher low pattern on the daily. So after 178.21, we're looking down at 174.77. But first things first, we're watching the low of Friday. We're watching the ability if the bulls can get over 20-period 5-minute moving average resistance, and we're watching the hourly bounce attempts, which have been rejecting on a lot of these names. Hourly bounces are rejecting from exponential resistance. So we know that if we can't get over hourly exponential resistance, the bears are keeping full control. So the names that get over those hourly exponential resistances will be put in a different category in terms of strength compared to those that cannot. And also the names that hold their low of Friday are going to be put in a more bullish category than those that do not. So there are ways that we're going to distinguish individual names from each other based on the lows of Friday and how they look on the hourly time frame. Also, hourly RSI levels are obviously going to be in play as well as we see who is more oversold comparatively. So AMBA on the 5-minute time frame. Not a ton of pre-market action, but same thing. All 5-minute moving averages are resistance currently, and we have to see those levels try and become support in order for the bulls to see any kind of upside. We already were in a bearish pullback on AMBA here before Friday even happened, and that just led to further downside. So support is 50.91. We have a gap down open coming. There's a little gap to fill at 50.44. That's going to fill today. And the next key support is 49.49. And if we break 49.49, that is going to be a significant bearish break on the daily and the weekly time frame, and that will start to shift momentum back to favoring the bears. The 200-week moving average support has held the last two pullbacks. That's going to be in the 50s to start this week. So we need to be keeping an eye on that level as well. Bulls must hold that level. If we close below it, it will be a shift in momentum, and the AMBA bears will start to take back over in terms of that weekly chart. NTES, all 5-minute moving averages are resistance. So very clearly there's a theme this morning where that is the majority of names. And obviously if we can't get over that 20 period, the bears remain in full control after the bell. So 297.26 was the low of Friday. Looks like we could test that level this morning, break that level, and the daily middle Bollinger Band will be next in the 292s. Hourly time frame for NTES still has support, so a lot of individual names are not going to have their hourly moving average supports. NTES still has those, 298.89, 293.72. So I would say NTES has a bit more support than a lot of these individual names. And the question is going to be, can we hold the low of Friday, and can we get over these 20-period 5-minute moving average resistances? Amazon's a bit different because we had that flash crash on Friday, so the support levels are a bit screwy, where we dropped all the way down to 927, but we have support before that. And I'm looking at 962, the level right before that flash crash took place, and also the low here at pre-market down at 965. So those are the first two supports I'm watching on Amazon, 962 and 965, keeping in mind that these names, Amazon and Google and these other high-tech, high-beta names, have a lot of downside that they could see because of the amount of strength that we've seen on the weekly time frame since the election. So Google shot straight up for 2 months, and I do believe Google has more downside risk than Amazon does. But as of right now, we see the Amazon bulls are over that 20-period 5-minute moving average, and they are trying to see some upside. So anytime I see an individual name today getting over its 5-minute moving average resistances, I immediately switch to the hourly time frame and see where do we stand compared to exponential and 20-period resistances. And I can see the bulls are trying to get over exponential resistances, and we're watching the 20-period resistance, 987.40, and dropping. So if this candlestick were to close right here, that would show some nice momentum for the bulls on Amazon. And then we're looking at that next moving average resistance, but keeping in mind on the daily time frame, I will absolutely anticipate Amazon to set a lower high sometime in the next day or two, perhaps around the $1,000 level if we're able to make it up that far. But basically, the short-term bounces are bearish entry opportunities, in my opinion. We just need to be patient and watch for the bulls to tire themselves out. I do believe a lot of bears have been woken up on Friday, and I do believe that they are going to jump on these bounces and cause us to form lower highs. So Google did not see much buying of the dip, not nearly as significant as some of the other individual names where we have a lack of a lower wick. So here, let's start it off on the 5-minute time frame. We have the 20-period 5-minute as support, the 100-period 5-minute as resistance. We're watching the low of Friday, 953.37 support. We're well above that level right now, so the bulls have plenty of wiggle room in that regard. But on the hourly time frame, here we are battling exponential resistances. So the first hour of trading today is going to show us whether a lot of these individual names reject from their hourly moving average resistances or are able to get over those levels. And that is going to be very significant in terms of gauging strength for today. So Google, 100-period 5-minute moving average resistance, next level to be watching, 975.77. And if we lose a 20-period at the open, we know the bears are back in control and we're heading down to the low of Friday. WDC, all 5-minute moving averages are resistance, 85.27. Bulls need to hold the higher low pattern on the daily. If 85.27 breaks, 84.13 is a very key support level because that would break the higher low pattern and that would shift momentum to the bears. So hourly time frame, we're looking at exponential resistance, and I'm going to stop going into these hourly time frames for these individual names just because it's going to take too long, but you all should be doing that and watching to see how these prices are reacting to their exponential resistances, as that is what I would be watching for 5-minute time frame first thing to get a gauge of where we stand, and then flip right over to the hourly and see where we stand in terms of RSI and exponential resistances. CVX, Seeing upside strength here. All 5-minute moving averages are support, so that's rare. 106.47 is that key 20-period moving average. High of Friday was 106.49, so a gap up open is coming. And in order to see a very bullish break on the daily, bulls need to break 107.09. That will be significant in terms of starting to see some follow through to the upside for these bulls. We had a big bullish reversal candlestick on the weekly time frame, and the bulls need to confirm that this week. The weekly middle Bollinger Band resistance is going to be right at that 107 level as well. So there's key resistance in the low 107s, and it does look like the bulls are going to test that at least today and likely for the rest of the week. BK. Also starting with all 5-minute moving averages as support, and that's because it is a bank in the financial sector, which is doing well. 49.21, breakout on the daily time frame, 3 big bull days in a row. High of Friday was 49.46, so we're going to test that high of Friday first thing, and if the bulls can see a break of that level, we'll obviously be looking for some continuation, and it does look like we are seeing a very significant break on the weekly time frame, the highest price we've seen in a couple years now. So these financial names are in the spotlight due to the pullback in tech and money coming into these financial names, and BK is one of the stronger charts. So we'll look to $50 psychological resistance if we break 49.46, and we have to hold this 20-period 5-minute moving average. Otherwise, we'll be looking to fill the gap back down. Actually, we don't have a gap up open here. Bulls want to hold that 20-period 5-minute in order to remain in control in the short term. SHOP is trying to see some bounce. One of the stronger names, fairly recent IPO comparatively, and coming off of all-time highs. In order to hold the low of Friday, it's 89.31. So that's the key support we're watching. So far, we're holding it this morning. 20-period 5-minute moving average is now support. Next resistance, 92.94 on the 5-minute time frame. And again, hourly exponential resistance is being tested, and we have to watch to see if we reject or are able to get over those levels first thing. That will give us direction for pretty much the rest of the day in terms of how much strength an individual name does have. Low of Friday on CL was 75.36, and we are potentially seeing a gap down open. CL has a lot of wiggle room because we have been running for the past 2 weeks to higher highs. So we're looking down anything above 73, 74 will keep the higher low pattern intact. So we are well above that level currently. So the bulls have a bunch more wiggle room here, and they ideally want to see a higher low established, ideally holding the daily middle Bollinger Band, which is going to be in the low $75 range. And we're going to test that level right at the open. The hourly time frame all over the place here. Wide channel to be watching. Not really the same setup we're seeing on all these other individual names. But let's see what happens in the first 15 minutes of trading once we get some volume. This pre-market volume is not really giving us any information on CL. Facebook on the daily time frame, trying to get that 100-period moving average as support, seeing a bit of a bounce play out. The low of Friday on Facebook was down at 146.61. We're well above that level to start today. And the 50-day moving average support is key as well. We bounced off of that on Friday. So if I see 5-minute moving averages becoming support, I flip over to the hourly, and I see where do we stand relative to exponential. We're testing that right now, and the bulls want to see a break of the bounce high from Friday afternoon. That's another gauge that we're going to be watching. So for Facebook, the high of that bounce was 150.40. If we were to see 150.40 break for those bulls today, we know they have a decent amount of strength, and we'll be looking for follow through to the upside, but again, a lower high to form in the next couple of days. So I already have the game plan on most of these individual names established in my head where no matter what, we're looking for a bearish entry. It's just whether it's today or whether it's in a couple days after a short-term bounce. Google, GOOG, same thing as GOOGL. Watching the 100-period 5-minute resistance. If we lose the 20-period 5-minute support at the open, we know the bears are still very strong. And on the daily time frame for GOOG, 935.63 is the low of Friday, and we're well above that level right now to start today. So any name that holds their low of Friday is going to form most likely an inside bar on the daily time frame, and we'll be using that tomorrow to be trading off of, and that will be a nice new setup. Next name, we got AMD. So the semiconductor sector seeing profit taking as well on Friday after a ton of bullish upside. So AMD is trying to hold 11.79, the 20-period 5-minute moving average. Resistance is up at 12.09, and the low of Friday was 11.63. So we're above that level right now. If we lose the 20-period 5-minute at the open, we watch the low of Friday to see if that level can hold. And we've got an hourly support left here at 11.48 as well. So the bears are still in control with hourly exponential resistances rejecting the price, and we're testing that level of resistance right now to see if the bulls can get over it. And that's the case on most individual names that were hit hard on Friday. So we'll have to see if we can hold the 20 period 5 minute at the open to try and see some follow through. Looking at some financial sector names, BAC. So BAC is seeing strength, all 5 minute moving averages as support, breakout the last couple of days, breaking the lower high pattern on the daily time frame, close at the high of the day on Friday. 23.67, so a small gap up is coming. There's a gap to fill at 23.86. That's our first target for the bulls, and then 24.09 comes after that. Hourly time frames for the financial sector has all hourly moving averages as support, so on any consolidation, we're looking at the 20-period hourly, and it's pretty much the exact opposite scenario for the tech sector. On any bounce for the tech sector, we're looking at the 20-period hourly resistance. On any consolidation in the financial sector, we're looking at the 20-period hourly support. C on the 5 minute time frame also has all 5 minute moving averages as support, so the financial sector clearly starting with strength. Increasing bull volume, clear bull breakout. C is one of the strongest names in the financial sector, and it was really shining on Thursday and Friday, seeing that follow through. So the high of Friday was 64.74. The bulls are going to test that level first thing, update the upper Bollinger Band on the daily. The bulls want to remain above that level and close above it by the end of the day to remain in breakout mode. And the 5 minute time frame moving averages need to hold as support in order for us to hold strength at the open. CLR, not much going on pre-market to be going off of in terms of volume. Daily time frame dumped, and we are seeing an oversold bounce try and play out. Bullish reversal candlestick Friday. 35.56 is resistance, and it looks like we might see a gap up open. Need to be cautious on a gap up open coming from an oversold bounce, as we are more likely to see profit taking in that scenario. So we'll see where the 20 period 5 minute moving average support is when we open, but due to the lack of pre-market action, we don't really have that 20 period to be tracking in terms of watching to see if the bulls can hold strength on a gap up open. Resistance is 37.07. If the bulls break that, the oversold bounce gets some follow through, and the bulls need to see a nice green day to confirm the bullish reversal candlestick from Friday and see the strength of this oversold bounce continue trying to play out. UCTT 20 period 5 minute support is 22.97. Low of Friday 21.60, currently well above that level. And we flip over to the hourly and watch the exponential resistances being tested. Looks like we might get over those levels. 23.73 is the next hourly resistance, and then 24.16 is the next 5 minute moving average resistance. CMG. So CMG has been in its own world, and it could care less what the market is doing. We certainly are not surprised by that. We've been watching that happen for years at this point, the lack of correlation to the overall market. It's a bear flag on the daily time frame with upper wicks of profit taking and rejections from the daily exponential resistances. If we break 457.02, we see another leg to the downside, and we'll be looking at 450 and 445 as the next levels from there. So it is a very clear bear flag right now, and it's up to the bulls to negate that. But with the start pre-market, obviously not much volume, but the Bears are still in control of CMG, in my opinion, and it's going to require a break of 466 and a strong green day to negate the possibility of a daily bear flag. PCLN, big time pullback as well on Friday. All 5 minute moving averages are resistance, and we didn't see bulls buying the dip significantly. A lack of a lower wick on Friday. 18.27 is support, break 18.27, and we see another leg to the downside. The 50-day moving average support has held twice in the past month. That's a key level as well. And in terms of resistance, we look to the hourly, and we see we're not even testing exponential hourly resistance yet. Bulls have tons of work to do, and we have lots of resistance levels to be watching. 1843, 1848, and PCLN is definitely one of the weaker names with the lack of the bounce Friday and the setup here pre-market, so we do need to be cautious if we do reject from those exponential hourly resistances. CLVS, nice strong end of the day, so CLVS standing out. And I'm going to be watching the biotech sector very closely to see if we do see some money rotating into the biotech sector as well. Certainly not hit as hard as the tech sector on Friday. So a nice strong close for CLVS. Resistance is going to be 60.84, and if we break 60.84, the next level is up at 62.66. So there is some nice upside potential here, and we do have all hourly moving averages as support on any consolidation. The 20-period hourly at 59.55 will be the first support level that we look at. Nice back test and hold of the 100-day moving average support the past 2 days in a row, and bulls holding that level. NVDA, another big name that took a hit, but overall, just fine on the daily and weekly time frame because of the amount of cushion we have from the strength we've seen over the past 2 months. So the low of Friday was 142.75. If we lose the 20-period 5-minute moving average support at the open, we look down to the low of Friday, 142.75. And if that cannot hold, we look down to 142.05 in order for the bulls to try and maintain the higher low pattern on the daily time frame. So the hourly for NVDA still weak, potentially losing all hourly moving average supports here this morning, and not seeing much strength at this point. But we'll see if the bulls can hold that low of Friday and try and amount a bit of a bounce. BABA. Let's actually check back in on SPY, and then I'll get through the rest of these tickers here. So BABA, or I should say SPY, 20-period 5-minute, 243.07 support, trying to get over the 100-period 5-minute resistance. And if we lose the 20-period 5-minute support, we look to the low of pre-market and the low of Friday as our next support levels, and that will show some bearish action first thing. I definitely anticipate a lot of volatility in the first 10 minutes. No shame in sitting out the first 10 minutes, waiting for things to settle down a little bit and to become a bit more clear before making any trades. BABA on the 5-minute time frame, 20-period support, 139.02 being tested right now. Still very strong on BABA. We're above the upper Bollinger Band in breakout mode on the daily. 138.33 is that upper Bollinger Band, and the low of Friday, 137.01. So if we lose all 5-minute moving average supports, we will look for the bulls to attempt to hold 137.01 support and a bit of bearish action first thing this morning. So checking back in on SPY real quick, trying to hold that 20-period still, and need to get over the high of the bounce pre-market. I'm looking at some resistance at 243.25 and 243.41. Let's see if the bulls can get over those levels and get some of that bull momentum here first thing. Momo on the 5-minute. We know $40 has been a tough resistance level and a lot of play at $40, and a bearish pullback. Lower low was hit. We now have a lower high and a lower low on the Momo daily time frame, shifting the trend. 36.02 is a must hold on the daily. We're in a channel on the 5-minute with 36.73 support and 37.32 resistance. We'll see how we break from this channel within the next 15 minutes or so. So PCLN down at the low of the day. Apple is down 3%. Apple is absolutely dumping, and the tech sector is still dumping. So that is very clear at this point, and we're watching all the lows from Friday. So XLK, the sector as a whole, is testing the low of Friday right now, 55.22. It just broke by a penny. Let's see if we get a more convincing break. Apple already breaking the low of Friday by a significant amount. And checking all of these individual names, that's all we're looking at, the low of Friday. Facebook still has the low of Friday as support. Netflix has broken the low of Friday, so the bears are absolutely still in control of the tech sector. There's no doubt about that. And the bulls are absolutely still running the financial sector, as we see further upside there. Biotech sector is also slightly green. X bulls, VRX bulls seeing some upside, but tech names, very clearly bears still in control. Looking down at NVDA, we are testing our low of Friday as the bears are still sticking around here. So we're seeing follow through in everything that played out Friday. We're seeing follow through in that same direction right now. So NVDA 142.75 support about to be tested. We just held it by 5 cents. Potential bottom fishing play. That's a double bottom, and we just saw a dollar bounce very quickly off of that support. Make that a $2 bounce. NVDA volatility is all over the map, but we have a double bottom at the low of Friday on NVDA, and that is a clear stop loss level if attempting to make a bottom fishing play. So we see SPY holding up just fine, and that's because these other sectors are getting money into them as we're seeing money leave the tech sector. So in terms of individual weakness, Amazon down 2%, Netflix down 3%, Apple down over 3%, Google down just under 2%, NVDA down 4%. So again, all of those names that saw weakness on Friday are seeing follow through here first thing this morning. Tesla also seeing some weakness. It did not see much of a bounce on Friday. We broke the low of Tesla first thing. That is down at 354.80. So the next support on Tesla, in order for the bulls to maintain the strongest trend on the daily, plenty of wiggle room here. We're looking at 334.21. Any low above 334.21 keeps the bulls in control with higher lows on the daily time frame. So as of right now on Tesla, bears in control down at the low of the day and trying to see a bounce play out. Low of pre-market, 350.25 is currently holding. CMG bearish continuation and bear flag confirmed. So as soon as we broke 457.02, that was confirmation of the bear flag, 450 support, and then 445. Checking in on X, nice follow through for the bulls, up 3%. And the X bulls held the daily upper Bollinger Band at the close yesterday or Friday, which showed strength. And here we are testing the high of this breakout, 2265. If we break 2265, that goes a long way for bullish confidence, and 23 psychological is the next resistance from there. TECK, bulls showing up first thing. Nice volume. Daily middle Bollinger Band resistance is 1826. High of Friday, 1828, testing those levels right now. If we can get over those levels, 1865 is the next level that does stand out. Edit on the daily time frame is the opposite, bearish, big bear candlestick to start the day. Daily time frame has been in a very clear downtrend. The oversold bounce top has been set, and now support is down at 1526 and then 1517. Middle Bollinger Band daily still resistance. Checking back in on SPY, bulls just fine, holding up near the high of the day, just slightly in the red. And the tech sector saw another flush to lower lows, trying to see a little bit of a bounce play out, and watching to see, again, any name that held its low of Friday after seeing weakness on Friday stands out as more bullish. So NVDA, the double bottom, still in play, still favoring those bulls short term, as long as that double bottom holds, and favoring the bulls from where we stand right now, that is to say. And all these other individual names that broke their low of Friday, very clear bearish momentum. Netflix is dumping and losing the higher low pattern on the daily time frame. Liking the downside follow through for the Google bears, Amazon. Again, because of that flash crash, Amazon has not broken the low of Friday, but it has broken that 962 support before the flash crash occurred. That was a level I was watching. So SPY up at the high of the day, about to go green. Financial sector still strong. Biotech bulls trying to hold on. And same thing with the biotech sector. On Friday, we came off of a higher high. We came off of a very strong day. We definitely saw profit taking, but we didn't see a dump by any means. So the bulls are still holding on to the daily time frame for the biotech sector, and VRX is responding, and some of these other individual names responding as well. And VRX needs to see a break of 1346 to be seeing follow through on the bounce that we're seeing play out over the past week or two. Tech sector is now bouncing a bit more significantly. We're up about 35 cents from the low of the day, but as we know, the 20-period 5-minute moving average has to become support in order for any upside momentum to continue. That resistance is 55.47 on XLK, and we're currently battling that resistance and trying to get back over it. Facebook is holding up the best out of the tech sector individual names. We're down less than 1%. And the bulls are buying the dip significantly on Facebook right now. So if the tech sector can turn things around and turn the 20-period 5-minute moving average into support, we will be looking at Facebook as one of the potential lead bulls, and we'll be looking at Apple as one of the lead bears if we do see continued weakness in this sector. And we were looking for that to play out. I believe a couple videos ago I said that Apple would be the bear play because of the laggard action. If the tech sector sees weakness, Apple will be a lead bear because of that laggard action and the inability to see any follow through. So big time pullback the past 2 days on Apple, and Facebook is strong name. Tesla bulls are buying the dip very significantly as well. So Tesla trying to hold support of 355.27. Next resistance is 359.98, just under 360 psychological, and the bulls are on the verge of going green here in Tesla as well. PCLN still very weak. Not seeing much follow through from the bulls there. Looking at the daily time frame for PCLN. 50-day moving average is key. The bulls want to close above 1826 today. Otherwise, we lose the 50-day moving average for the first time in a long time. It held the low of the earnings dump that we saw back in May. Clicking back in on NVDA, let's see where our resistance is after that double bottom at the low of Friday. Still rejecting from the 20-period 5-minute. So any individual name that cannot get over its 20-period 5-minute still shows weakness. And that level for NVDA is 145.52. Bulls must close over that level to try and see any kind of bullish momentum follow through. Bull miners trying to see some green here. And that is without any help from gold itself. Trying to see a bullish reversal candlestick on the gold hourly, but the fact that the miners are in the green with gold weaker than it was on Friday shows a bit of upside and a bit of strength. Here comes X, testing the high that we've seen on this bull move from Thursday. or make that Friday. The high of Friday was 22.65. It's currently a double top there. X-Bulls really want to break that level and see the follow through and the higher high to give some comfort to the bulls that this oversold bounce is going to continue on the daily time frame. Apple continuing to dump, now down 4% after a big dump on Friday. Google's still weak as well. So if you look at the weekly chart for Google, there's very clearly a lot of downside room. And we saw 2 months of upside. We ran from 840 up to over 1,000, and now we're pulling back. And very key support is 940 on Google. If we break that level, we lose the higher low pattern on the weekly time frame. XOM breaking out, gap up, open, and run. 20-period 5-minute moving average support held and breaking all the resistance from the past 3 months. Lots of follow through for these bulls. Changing the trend in the short term, we have been rejecting from $83 on the weekly time frame for 4 months, and we're over that level now, trying to break out. 50-week resistance is the next level, 83.86. Canadian MJ sector still bouncing. I do believe a lower high is going to be set. The top of this bounce is going to be set, in my opinion. If not today, then tomorrow, most likely. We did break the high of Friday by 7 cents on WEED, but we are at the low of the day. So if we do see profit taking in a bearish reversal candlestick, we're going to be watching for a pullback and a higher low to form on the daily time frame. But again, after 3 big bullish bounce days, I do believe that our short-term top of this bounce is going to be set in the near future. APH 531, the high of Friday, slightly broken, but again, down at the low of the day. Let's see what kind of candlestick forms on the daily time frame. If it's a bearish reversal candlestick, we will be watching for that higher low to form, anticipating consolidation. SINA struggling at the 20-period 5-minute moving average resistance of 87.26. It's holding the low of Friday of 85.67. Has to hold that level to try and form a bullish reversal candlestick today, and then we'll have an inside bar on the daily time frame to watch if it does hold that level. XBIT 20-period 5-minute moving averages support after a huge dump on Friday. Oversold bounce underway. 368 is a must hold, and resistance is 3. Make that 439, and then the daily lower Bollinger Band is 486. That's going to be a tough daily lower Bollinger Band resistance. Keep an eye on it. So SPY is now down at the low of the day, a short-term bounce, seeing weakness as the financial sector is pulling back a little bit, and the tech sector is down at the low. So the tech sector tried to bounce, rejected from the 20-period 5-minute moving average resistance, and is now seeing another leg to the downside on the verge of a clear bear break. So the next support on XLK, if we lose 55, the 50-day moving average is 54.81, and we can still see these tech names certainly still struggling at this point, not seeing much of a bounce. And now Facebook is catching up with the other tech sector bears. Netflix is almost down 4% again. Amazon's approaching the low of the day, almost down 3%. So still lots of weakness here, and XLK is trying to hold the low of the day, but not really doing a good job at this point after rejecting from the 20-period 5-minute moving average resistance. So oil is up, and natural gas is up, so the energy sector definitely seeing some sector rotation here as money continues to leave the tech sector. So the names that saw the least amount of buying of the dip on Friday in terms of the size of the lower wick of the daily candlestick are seeing the most bearish follow through first thing this morning, and that's because of the lack of momentum to the upside. So PCLN didn't really have much of a lower wick comparatively, and we are seeing lower lows there. We're down near the low of the day on that name. Netflix also didn't see a very significant amount of buying of the dip. Lower low there. Higher low pattern on the daily has broken for Netflix. And there's Amazon with a new low of the day. So very clearly, bears are still in control of this tech sector as XLK is dumping down into the 54.82 level, our next support to be watching. So the answer for whether or not we're going to be looking for bearish entries in a couple days or today is very clearly today on these tech sector names, which started the day very weak. Any bounce attempt has rejected from the 20 period 5 minute, and we're seeing continuation and lower lows and breaks of the lows of Friday. As soon as the low of Friday broke, that was the signal. Bears are not going anywhere. They still have a lot of strength here. And NVDA just lost that double bottom, not significantly at this point, but it is a clear bear break. That low was 142.75, and we just broke it by 5 cents, but we are at the low of the day. Daily middle Bollinger Band is 141.80. So all the weak names from Friday, bearish action continues. And the financial sector saw some bullish follow through as well. And VRX bulls certainly seeing strength up at the high of the day. And we're watching X and the double top with the high of Friday. Definitely worth paying attention to that double top resistance. IBM bull break, oversold bounce on the daily starting to play out a bit more significantly. Next resistance, we're looking to fill the gap at 156.83, and then the 50-day moving average is 158.14. Nice follow through, breaking a tight range and trying to close above the daily upper Bollinger Band today. Looking good to do so far. Amazon still down, dropping, lower lows. Google's down at the low of the day. Netflix is almost down 5%. Netflix very quickly became a lead bear. Bounce attempt first thing, rejecting from 20 period 5 minute moving average resistance, and then continuation to the downside. Testing the low of the day on Netflix, 150.41, and we just hit 150.50. Bulls attempting to hold a double bottom at the low of the day on Netflix. Break of that level should see another leg to the downside. Amazon's all over the place in terms of volatility, so definitely want to be very cautious. We just hit 946, and then we're up to 951 in just a minute. So moving $5, $6 very easily in both directions. Tech sector attempting another bounce. Watching that 20 period 5 minute, 55.41 resistance. AZO up at the high of the day. Bulls have to break 625.56 on AZO to have a higher low and then a higher high on the oversold bounce and continue filling the gap on the daily. So 625.56, very key resistance to be watching. Bulls in full control with 5 minute exponential moving averages as support. UAA is absolutely on fire. Big time breakout follow through, getting over 22.12 was a clear bullish signal. Highest price we had seen in months. Oversold bounce now has a higher low and a higher high by getting over that 22.12 level, and we're now entering an area of a lack of resistance. We dumped the week at the end of January 2017. We essentially dumped from 28 down to 20. So there is a lack of resistance up in the mid to upper $20 range. Let's see how significant this UAA bounce can play out over the next few days. Keeping in mind the daily chart, RSI is up at 75. We're a bit extended in the short term, but the bulls are in full control in this breakout mode due to the lack of resistance. PCLN approaching its must-hold 1791. GOOGL. Bullish reversal candlestick trying to form. Lots of volatility. Bouncing $6, $8 very easily. Still all 5 minute moving averages as resistance. So we know if we can't even get over the 5 minute exponential resistances, the bears remain in control. Key support of 940.06 has broken. The higher low pattern has broken on Google. And again, any bounce, we're just looking for lower highs to form. The question is going to be, do we wait days for that bounce? Which obviously the start of today is not the case. The bears proving themselves right away, breaking that low of Friday. 5 minute RSI is very oversold on a lot of these names, down in the teens. So let's see if we get a short-term bounce, a rejection, and another lower high. And any of these names that cannot get over their 20 period 5 minute moving average resistance, we know shows weakness and bears in full control. ATVI also trying to bounce, also rejecting from exponential resistances. Broke the low of Friday right away. Next must hold support for the bulls is 53.66 to keep the daily higher low pattern. And exponential and 20 period 5-minute moving average resistances. CL 20 period 5-minute support is 75.63. 100 period resistance is 76. Nice little channel there. We're holding the low of Friday on CL. Inside bar on the daily currently forming. Let's see how we break out of that 5-minute channel to give us short-term direction. So bears still in full control of SPY as we're down at the low of the day. So we're watching SPY low of Friday, just like all these individual names. And we have a lot of wiggle room there, 241.95, still $1 above that level. But we got Apple very weak, approaching the low of the day, down 4%. We've got the tech sector at the low of the day. So all of these bounces in the tech sector are just giving us lower highs, rejecting from 5-minute resistance, and then seeing continuation to the downside. So Netflix still weak. Amazon, a couple dollars off the low. PCLN just broke the higher low pattern on the daily. Clear bear break on PCLN. OLED is dumping. The 5-minute RSI very significantly crushed, down at 13. Clear daily support is 111.75 in order to hold a higher low pattern. Can be scouting for an oversold bounce there just due to that 5-minute RSI and the support approaching. TTD. All 5-minute moving averages resistance, including exponential, breaking the low of Friday, seeing continuation to the downside. Support is 48.77 and 47.69. Bull's still okay on the daily time frame, holding some supports, but obviously weak on the 5-minute, and it looks like we're heading to test those supports. CMG is still down at the low of the day with that follow-through on the bear flag. AEO, so we're seeing money rotate into the retail sector. AEO, UUA, Under Armour, American Eagle, up at the highs. So the oversold bounces. This sector was crushed, and now we're seeing money come out of the tech names, and it is going into this space. So oversold bounce is getting higher lows and higher highs and following through. The next resistance is 1230 on AEO. CVX, healthy consolidation on the 5-minute time frame. Bulls are looking for continuation. And if we break 107.64 short term, it's a red flag, but the next resistance on the daily time frame after the high of the day is going to be 108.44. C is consolidating along with the entire financial sector after a bullish push first thing. Still very healthy, 20 period 5-minute moving average support, breakout mode above the upper Bollinger Band. And bulls want to see a new base established. They're trying for it to be at 64.65 right now, and then trying to head back up towards the high of the day. So C 64.65, key short-term support. PCLN absolutely with a bear break, losing the higher low pattern on the daily time frame, following along with all of those bears on Friday with continuation to the downside as the tech sector just dropped another 10 cents. XLK bears in full control. Netflix is almost down 6% now, very clearly a lead bear getting crushed. Amazon at the low of the day, Google down, Tesla's at the low of the day. So all these names, weakness Friday, very clearly following through today. BRX struggling at the 200 period 5-minute moving average resistance of 12.89. Have to get over that level to see a bounce play out. Middle Bollinger Band on the daily is 12.94 right after that level, resistance as well. Likely to see an inside bar on the daily time frame with how we're shaping up so far. SPY still weak, making its way steadily down towards the low of Friday. Checking in on the cryptos real quick, we have ETH still consolidating. Equilibrium pattern on the hourly shaping up here. Lower highs, higher lows. Bitcoin bounce still trying to play out. Inside bar on the hourly is forming on Bitcoin. Not a very strong bounce at this point. I would anticipate a lower high to form there. Biotech sector is now seeing some weakness creep in. Low of Friday for the biotech sector broke at 70.71, so that could have been a signal to get into LABD. Again, the lows of Friday are our main gauge. Next support on XBI is down at 70.05. If the tech sector were to see a more prolonged bounce play out today from the lows, Netflix would be one of the names to look at because of the extreme oversold levels. 15 RSI on the 5-minute. Hourly RSI is 15 as well. Daily 100-day moving average support is 148.05, currently holding. So if we see XLK get over its 20-period 5-minute moving average resistance, we can look for Netflix to try and see a bounce play out, but XLK has been rejecting from exponential 5-minute resistance the entire morning and is still struggling there. Financial sector bulls trying to show back up after first thing consolidation this morning. XLF is holding its 20-period 5-minute moving average. Keeping an eye on these bulls to show back up on the financial sector to head back towards their highs. Apple, if the RSI is 7, let's check that. Definitely worth scouting if the tech sector bounces. Yep, I've got the hourly RSI at 8. So if the tech sector bounces, Apple and Netflix will be at the top of the bounce list due to their extreme oversold conditions. QQQ, break of 138.11 was a bearish indication, and we're now looking down at 135.87 as the next support. So lots of follow through. Pretty much anything that saw a lot of weakness on Friday has broken their low of Friday. And that's a generalization. There's obviously individual names that have not, but that is the majority of names here. X is pulling back a bit after that double top, pulling back a bit more significantly than the bulls would hope for. Need to keep an eye on 2265 resistance. Bull miners not really doing anything. Not a lot of action in the miners today. Still follow through in the Canadian MJ names. Nice recovery from the lows and hitting higher highs. So a very nice 4-day bounce. But again, I do anticipate a lower, or I should say a temporary top on Canadian MJ, either today or tomorrow, would be what I would be looking for. So tech sector bounce attempt, bullish reversal doji attempting to be confirmed, still battling exponential 5-minute moving average resistances. And we have to be watching XLK. It is a potential bear flag on the 5-minute time frame if we cannot get over these exponential 5-minute resistances. Next support on XLK, if we do see continuation to the downside after the 50-day moving average, is 54.37. So I'm just staring at the XLK 5-minute time frame and watching to see if this bear flag continues playing out. Netflix is up $2 from the low. Also a potential bear flag there. So all of these bounces on these names so far are potential bear flags. XBI weakness continuing. As soon as we broke the low of Friday, that was a bear signal. And next support, 70.05. We're testing it and we did break it. Daily middle Bollinger Band, 69.87. And then the 50-day moving average, 69.39. Google is off significantly from the lows. So XLK, if we get over these exponential 5 minutes, the risk of a bear flag diminishes significantly. And all of these names are seeing a bounce right now. Netflix is up about $3. Google is up $13. Amazon's only up 5. Maybe Amazon will be a laggard to Google. Amazon is one of the weaker bounces comparatively. Apple is a weaker bounce. And Facebook as well. So I'd put Facebook, Apple, and Amazon on the weaker bounce side, and I would put Netflix and Google on the stronger bounce side. NVDA attempting a bounce as well. It too would be on the stronger side, and I'm just gauging this based on how these names are compared to their 5-minute exponential resistances right now on this bounce. Momo, nice start to the day. Bulls just built support at 36.94. Resistance is 38.33, the last 5-minute moving average resistance, which did reject the high of the day. So looking like we're forming a lower high. Watch a 5-minute equilibrium pattern. Higher lows, lower highs likely to form unless the Bulls can get over 38.34 and turn all 5-minute moving averages into support. So any names that get over their exponential 5-minute moving average resistance, we're watching the 20-period 5-minute moving average. We're obviously watching volume. So Google 20-period 5-minute is 957.70. XLK 5-minute moving average, 20-period is 55.35. Keep an eye on these Baba bulls. They are strong. Baba upper Bollinger Band holding his support at the moment, 138.19. Key support on Baba is 135.21. As long as that level holds, we prevent from filling the gap back to the downside. So 135.21 is a must hold. Bulls formed a higher low so far, and they're heading back to the high of the day, 139.39. And Baba has only been higher than where we currently stand twice in the history of the stock. Did not see a significant pullback Friday whatsoever. PCLN is one of the weaker bounces. Potential bear flag still in play. We must get over exponential 5-minute moving average resistances. SINA 88.24 resistance, 87 support looking at the 5-minute time frame. Nice new high of the day on SINA. Still working on filling the gap on the daily chart. That gap fills at 84.19 and we just hit 85.29. So still keeping an eye on that gap. So ETH, we're going to be looking for a higher low to form compared to 369 to keep in this tightening equilibrium pattern of consolidation after the breakout. BTC, if we break 2, make that 28.62, we will see continuation on this oversold bounce. Pretty clear inverse correlation between BTC and ETH currently in play. LTC needs to see a break of 30.75 for the oversold bounce to continue. So XLK, the tech sector, did not have enough strength to even test the 20-period 5-minute moving average resistance currently. Still trying to hold that, or still trying to test that level. So running through the individual tech names again. For comparative strength, Google still one of the stronger bounces. Netflix rejected from exponential resistance on its bounce attempt. Apple is rejecting from exponential. Facebook is struggling at it. Amazon's struggling at it. So Google is the strongest bounce at this point of the tech sector individual names I'm watching. But even the sector itself is still weak. Must form a higher low and a higher high. So XLK new resistance is 55.24. Checking in on commodities real quick, we've got gold still weak, lower highs on the hourly continuing to form as with silver. Oil bounce is confirming the bullish reversal candlestick on the daily. Oil bulls do have some nice control, so the energy sector seeing some follow through. Bulls on oil are trying to confirm the hourly bull flag by getting over 46.66 to see continuation. Natural gas is consolidating. Resistance on natural gas is 3087 and 3095. Baba rejected from the 100 period 5-minute moving average resistance of 139.09. So that's going to be a level that the bulls have to get over to try and keep that daily upper Bollinger Band as support in breakout mode. CHK holding that 20 period 5-minute all day. That's very important. At 509, lose that level and we start to see a shift in momentum. I would not call it a bull flag. Too drawn out, too much pullback compared to one 5-minute candlestick. CMG, nice bear play, confirming the bear flag on the daily when we broke 457 and seeing $4.50 to the downside since then. So XLK just established a higher low. So the range right now on XLK is support of 55.01 and resistance of 55.24. LABU, weak bounce attempt, rejecting from exponential resistance, still a possibility of a bear flag. Bulls must form a higher low and a higher high, getting over exponential 5-minute resistance. And for those newer, whenever I say exponential, we always are looking at the 4-period and the 8-period exponential resistances or supports. XLK trying to make another move back to the middle Bollinger Band on the 5-minute, 55.33. So some of these tech names getting a bit more bounce follow through. Looking like Facebook is trying to join the party. Getting over exponential resistances. Apple as well. And now it shifts to being all about exponential to shifting to being all about the 20-period 5-minute. Nice follow through for the tech sector. So the bulls a bit more encouraged because we did just set a little mini higher low and higher high. And here we are at the 20-period 5-minute resistance approaching 55.33. Google's up $14 from the low. NVDA's up $3. Amazon's up $9. And Netflix up $3 as well. So we are seeing a bounce attempt with a bit more significant follow through. Baba bulls are still sticking around. Higher low on Baba was just established on the 5-minute at 137.54. That's a new must hold support in the short term. CMG down at the low of the day still. PCLN 1800 is going to be a psychological resistance the bulls have to get over. Still not much going on at all with the bull miners nor the bear miners. Not a lot of volatility in that space. And X bulls must break 2265 today to give that confidence in follow through on this oversold bounce. Still a bit cautious in the Canadian MJ sector for bearish reversal candlesticks to potentially form today. Still too early to say. XLF is almost on pause while we watch to see if this tech sector bounces. XLF is holding the 20-period 5-minute, keeping the bulls in control. The current range on the 5-minute is 24.33 to 24.45. So we've got our lower high just set, but the 20-period 5-minute moving average continuing to hold. XLK is almost trading sideways now. Bulls really want to hold 55 support. So everything's slowing down a little bit after the first 45 minutes of the open. We've got both the tech sector and the financial sector trading sideways a bit. Next 15-20 minutes are going to be key for short-term direction. So Facebook, high of this bounce is resistance of 146.77, and bulls trying to establish a higher low at 146.02. That's the current range to be watching as we head up to test resistance. If we get over 146.77, the 20-period 5-minute is the next level, currently 147.32 and dropping every 5 minutes. NVDA, a bit more bounce follow through. NVDA is getting over its 20-period 5-minute. One of the first names from the bearish list to do so. That's high of the day test, 145.88. And then we're looking at 146.98, the 100-period 5-minute resistance from there. Baba's at the high of the day. Nice follow through for those bulls. Really strong daily chart still intact coming off of the all-time high. Not seeing the weakness that the tech sector is seeing. And a very clear stop loss level on Baba for a swing trade is 135.21. PCLN, nice move over 1800. 20-period 5-minute moving average resistance is 1818. Still need to see a close over exponential resistance as XLK is at the 20-period 5-minute. Very key test here. 55.32 on XLK. Get over that level and these tech names should see some more follow through. Baidu 20 period 5-minute moving average trying to become support for the first time today. That is at 179.35. Bullish reversal candlestick on the daily time frame if we close here or better. And the 100-day moving average holding Friday and it holding today right now at 178.95. But the daily lower Bollinger Band is rejecting the high of the day, and that's at 194.33. And we know more often than not we do reject from that level on the first test. So pretty tight range on the daily to be watching, the 100-day and the lower Bollinger Band. So TGT breaking out. Again, retail is seeing money come into it. Absolutely sector rotation. We have a higher low and a higher high from an oversold bounce on TGT. All of these retail names are coming off of oversold levels from very bearish action in all of 2017 up until now. So we are seeing money leave tech and going into retail and financials. So XLK still not over 20 period 5-minute moving average resistance. And we actually just closed 1 penny over it, but we're still right at that level, still seeing a battle go on. So checking all the individual names again to compare them. Apple has not tested the 20 period 5-minute yet. Facebook has not as well. Neither has Netflix. Amazon is on the verge of testing it. And Google is right there as well. So still Google lead on the bounce. Amazon is right behind it now. And the other three a bit back. And just like that, Tesla's on the verge of green. Tesla got over its 20 period 5-minute moving average resistance, the last 5-minute candlestick, and it's heading back to the high of the day. So resistance is 358, and then the high of pre-market of 358. Make that 359.98. Might as well call that 360. NVDA 20 period 5-minute would have been my entry, personally. Bullish reversal candlestick on the daily, off the daily middle Bollinger Band. 141.97. And a new high of the day just hit. So I would have either gotten in bullish on the 20 period 5-minute becoming support, the new high of the day. In my opinion, the 100 period is a bit late. That's just day trading mindset. XLK, beautiful follow through. Google responding. Amazon responding. So let's see if XLK can get a new high of the day. That's one of the next resistances we're looking at, 55.47. And significant bounces, up $15 on both. Now $20 on Google. 20 on Google, 15 on Amazon, 16. Those are the bounce leaders for sure. Nice volume on XLK coming in. Baba's in the green. 140 psychological. So we have a base of support on all these individual names where Google just consolidated and formed a base at 945.50 and then saw continuation. So that is a must hold level for the rest of the day for this bounce to hold strength. And there is potential bullish entries after the 20-period 5-minute moving average becomes support, but it does depend on how much upside we have seen heading into that, whereas I might be looking for consolidation and a back test of the support before going in. But as of right now, these bounces are seeing some nice strength. So what do we need to do? We need to look now at the hourly and see, okay, we're seeing a bounce play out. Where do we stand? And we are still very, very weak on these hourly time frames. So it's all about perspective. And that's why we keep looking at all these different time frames to shift our perspective so we don't get tunnel vision, where the 5-minute time frames look great, but you look at the Google hourly, and we're not even testing exponential resistances on the Google hourly yet. It is a big bullish reversal hammer, and we are still at a 17 RSI on the Google hourly. So if this is the start of a bounce, we could absolutely see another significant move to the upside if we can get over the hourly exponential, if we can confirm these bullish reversal candlesticks that are forming today in the first hour of trading. So there is absolutely still upside potential in the short term, but we have to be watching this hourly time frame. It's back test and hold of Google 20-period 5-minute support so far. SPY is back testing its 20-period 5-minute. And XLK is back testing its 20-period 5-minute. XLF still trading just sideways. Everything put on pause in the financial sector, still holding the 20 period, so the bulls are still maintaining control. Google heading towards the high of the day if we can backtest and hold this 20-period 5-minute. Facebook testing its 20-period. Apple as well. Facebook and Apple still not over it. And Netflix, the weakest bounce out of everybody, has not even touched its 20-period 5-minute. So if expecting the tech sector to roll over and see further downside, Netflix would be a lead candidate. But in order to break the higher low pattern that has developed on the 5-minute from this bounce on XLK, we have to break 55.01. So XLF bulls still holding control. XLK bulls still battling to get that 20 period as solid support. Need to see a new high of the day on XLK to give those bulls confidence. And X is at its double top, 2265, key resistance test on X. FL, nice follow through, increasing bull volume on the 5 minute, a good sign. 20 period 5 minute support is 54.92. Bullish reversal hammer from oversold conditions being confirmed if we can hold up here. 55.65 key resistance. Looks like we did just break that level. Next level is up at 57 and 57.59. So there is still upside potential. 57.23 is hourly resistance. GWW. Must hold 178.44. 20 period 5 minute is there as well. Resistance 180.63. Break that and we look back to the high of the day. The low of the consolidation that just occurred is a must hold level. Nice bull break on X. Very convincing. Follow through to the upside. Highest level we've seen on this bounce. XLK must hold 55. Must establish a higher low compared to 55 and then see continuation. XLF consolidating, looking just fine, although the bears are showing up this 5 minute candlestick. Bulls must hold 24.33, the low of the day on XLF. Hourly chart is just fine. Hourly support is 24.25. 20 period hourly support. So healthy consolidation, all things considered, looking at the past couple days on XLF. So SPY not seeing much strength still. XLK trying to form the higher low. XLK making another attempt. If XLK gets over 55.40, we see continuation of the higher low, higher high pattern on the 5-minute time frame, and the individual tech names will benefit. BTC is testing the high of the oversold bounce at this point. Bitcoin up at 28.62. So Baba just established support by consolidating on the 5-minute at 138.65. Bulls want to hold that level to remain in full control. The high of pre-market right before the open was 140.15, and we just formed a lower high by 14 cents. So clear resistance that the Bulls need to break here. We get over 140.15, the bounce sees continuation, and we look to 140.96 as the last 5-minute moving average. If we pull back and break 138.65, the Bulls will lose some momentum on this 5-minute bounce. BTE. 20-period 5-minute moving average support on BTE is 378. If we lose that level, further consolidation is coming. And the gap up open, we know that 20-period 5-minute moving average is key. So if we lose that level, the gap to fill is down at 372. And that would be a target. Resistance, lots of lower highs on the 5-minute, looking at 380 and 383. GS pulling back, 100-period 5-minute moving average support held the low of the day. We're testing it again at 222.47, about to hit a new low of the day as the financial sector is seeing a bit of weakness here after trading sideways for a while. Lower high and lower low close to forming. Bearish reversal candlestick on GS on the daily time frame, looking like we need to consolidate and form a higher low. WEED and Canadian MJ down at the low of the day as well. APH much, much stronger. Very significant difference in WEED and APH. WEED is a bearish reversal candlestick, and APH is still on fire. XLK now has multiple touches at 55.40. Have to break that level for continuation. W looks fine on the daily time frame. Bullish candlestick today off of the middle Bollinger Band daily support. Higher low pattern intact. W definitely still bullish. New base of support, the low of today is 65.03. XLK, nice follow through. Here we go towards the high of the day now. Still bouncing in these tech names. So now our focus shifts to the hourly time frame and whether or not these bulls can confirm the bullish reversal candlestick from our first hour of trading. Baba's at the high of the day. High of the day test for XLK. Bullish reversal hammer on the hourly, trying to be confirmed, but we're battling exponential resistance. That's going to be the case for most individual names. Got over 5-minute exponential resistance, and the bounce played out nicely. Now we have to get over on the hourly exponential resistance in order for this bounce to be a bit more prolonged. See breakdown, lower high and lower low. So the financial sector and the tech sector appear to be a bit inverse. So lower high and lower low, bearish reversal candlestick, very clear on C. It's a gravestone doji at this point. It does look like our temporary top is in the financial sector. So we will now be looking for a higher low to form after consolidation, which may take a couple days. All depends on how the candlestick closes at the end of the day today. But lots of bearish reversal candlesticks in this tech or in the financial sector, and bullish reversal candlesticks in the tech sector. So the question is, does this keep up for the rest of the day? Baidu, nice bull break, high of the day. Next resistance is 181.11 and 183.14. Take that back. It's 181.11 on the 5-minute, and then on the hourly 20 period, 181.98. High of the day on NVDA, really nice comeback. Amazon up $23 from the low. Google up $31 from the low. I take that back. It's up $21. So Amazon a bit more significant of a bounce. Shop is approaching the high of the day. Nice clear higher low, higher high pattern on the 5-minute with the most recent support, 116.03. Bullish reversal hammer trying to form today if we can close above 117. And we got the 50-day moving average support holding near the low of the day. So oversold bounce underway. Same thing. Hourly, bullish reversal hammer trying to be confirmed. Still hourly exponential resistances. If we see these individual names reject from their hourly exponential resistances, we know this bounce is short term. ROM is trying to form a bullish reversal candlestick, a hammer holding the 50-day moving average support, bulls buying the dip. Higher lows very clear on the 5-minute time frame. 131.12 is key support, and we're testing the high of the day, 133.01. And it looks like we did just break to higher highs. So a nice bounce so far, but again, this bounce is only clear on the 5-minute time frame. Still have proving to do on the hourly. So I would say the play, if you are in a bullish tech name, is either walking up your stop loss to lock in profits if things slow down and turn around, or setting your stop loss at break even if you want to give this potential for a multiple day bounce. And if the stop loss at break even is more of a home run type play rather than just locking in the gains on the way up. I do, it's the hourly 20 period. We're at that level right now, 182.03. And then 183.11, last 5-minute moving average resistance. AAOI battling 64.31 resistance, bullish candlestick on the daily time frame currently. Bullish reversal hammer, hourly resistance to be testing. Still at exponential hourly resistance, trying to confirm a bullish reversal hammer. Same story as all these other individual names. Need to see this hourly candlestick close above 64.20. And then the 20 period hourly is going to be down just under 67 next hour. Tesla's in the green. Nice bull follow through. SPY bulls trying to get a little bit more recovery going now. Still battling 100 period 5-minute resistance of 243.06. So I'm going to wrap up the morning webcam here. We'll be back in 15 minutes to continue coverage in the chat room. As Tesla bulls are in full control. So a nice dip playing out so far, short term, and we watch for confirmation on the hourly time frame this next hour. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and I will be back shortly.